March 2026. Oil hits $120 a barrel overnight. Not because of a war, because of a strait. A 21-mile wide waterway, that's all it takes. One choke point, 20% of the world's oil, gone. Gas prices spike, food prices spike, bond markets panic, Japan scrambles, South Korea activates a $68 billion emergency fund. Europe's gas storage is at 30%. Winter just ended. The IEA calls it the greatest energy security threat in history. And this is not the first time. It is not even the 10th. Persia, 1908. A British geologist named Darcy is out of money. He has drilled for 7 years. Nothing. He sends a telegram, stop all operations, pack up. Before the message arrives, the drill hits something. A black column erupts 50 feet into the desert air. The first major oil discovery in the Middle East. What follows is not a business deal, it is a rewriting of the world. Britain gains a controlling stake in the new Anglo-Persian oil company. By 1914, Churchill converts the Royal Navy from coal to oil. The empire that controls the oil controls the sea. The empire that controls the sea controls the world. The Middle East has just become the most important real estate on Earth. Not for its people, for what is underneath them. For decades, Western companies own the oil. Local governments do not. A barrel drilled from Saudi sand earns Saudi Arabia 12 cents. The same barrel sells in New York for $2. This arrangement lasts for 50 years. Then October 6, 1973, Egypt and Syria attack Israel. The United States airlifts $2.2 billion in weapons to Israel. 6 days later, the Arab members of OPEC respond, not with tanks, with tankers. They cut oil production. They embargo the United States. Within 4 months, the price of oil quadruples. American gas stations run dry. Lines stretch around the block. The US government imposes a national speed limit to conserve fuel. The embargo only removed 7% of global supply. 7% caused a 300% price increase. The oil weapon has just been fired for the first time. The world will never fully disarm it again. Now understand the geography. It explains everything. The Persian Gulf is shaped like a bathtub. Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Kuwait, Iran, UAE, Qatar, all inside. Together they hold 55% of the world's oil reserves. There is only one drain, the Strait of Hormuz, 21 miles wide at its narrowest point. The navigable shipping lane, just 2 miles in each direction. Through that gap, 20 million barrels of oil per day. That is 20% of everything the world burns. 1/5 of global LNG. 30% of seaborne fertilizer. Japan, 90% of its oil comes through Hormuz. South Korea, 70%. South Korea routes 95% through Hormuz. China, the world's largest LNG buyer from Qatar. India, the second largest, both dependent on one 2-mile lane. And here is what nobody mentions in the headlines. Oil is not just oil. It is the raw material for fertilizer. Fertilizer feeds crops. Crops feed people. Urea, ammonia, sulfur, all flow through Hormuz. Block the strait. You don't just raise gas prices. You raise bread prices in Egypt, rice prices in Indonesia. You threatened the Northern Hemisphere's spring planting season. One strait, one decision, global food supply disrupted. Now understand why every major power has troops near this water. It is not about ideology. It is about the drain on the bathtub. February 28th, 2026. The largest supply disruption in oil market history begins. Hormuz is effectively closed. 20 million barrels per day stopped. Compare this to 1973. That embargo blocked 4 million barrels. This is 5 times larger in a more interconnected global economy. Brent crude, $72 in February, $112 by late March, a 55% spike in weeks. At least 39 oil refineries and energy sites damaged across 9 countries. Qatar's Ras Laffan, the world's largest LNG facility, goes offline. It supplies 1/3 of China's LNG, a quarter of Asia's total needs. Europe's gas benchmark nearly doubles overnight. Dubai International Airport, 95 million passengers a year, suspends flights. The 2026 Bahrain Grand Prix, canceled. Saudi Grand Prix, canceled. Foreign residents begin leaving the Gulf in large numbers. The narrative that the Gulf is a permanently safe destination shattered. Now here's the twist nobody expected. OPEC Plus announces a production increase of 206,000 barrels per day, meant to calm markets, but 90% of OPEC Plus spare capacity is inside the Gulf. The oil cannot reach the market. It is trapped behind Hormuz. More production, same choke point, zero relief. The IEA authorizes its largest ever emergency stock release, 400 million barrels. A temporary fix, buying time, not solving the problem. Here's the asymmetry at the center of every Middle East oil crisis. The United States imports relatively little oil through Hormuz. America is largely energy self-sufficient, has been for years. Yet it is American policy, American weapons, American decisions that shape the conflict. But over 80% of Hormuz oil flows east to Asia. Japan, South Korea, India, China absorb the overwhelming economic cost. South Korea activates a $68 billion stabilization program immediately. India gets an emergency 30-day waiver to buy stranded Russian oil. Pakistan faces LNG shortages. Energy rationing begins. Sub-Saharan Africa faces fertilizer price spikes just before planting season. The countries least responsible for the conflict pay the highest price. This has been true in every oil crisis since 1973. The geography does not change. The math does not change. Only the scale gets larger each time. 3 things every oil crisis in history has confirmed. 1. Choke points always win. You can have the largest army, the strongest navy, but if your enemy controls 2 miles of water, they control you. No technology has yet replaced what flows through Hormuz. 2. Oil is never just oil. It is food, it is medicine, it is the plastic in your phone. Block the supply and the entire supply chain unravels. Every economy that treats oil as a commodity misunderstands what it is. 3. The countries that diversify now survive the next crisis. Every shock accelerates the transition away from fossil fuels. The 1973 embargo created the modern nuclear energy industry. The 2026 crisis may do the same for solar, wind, and battery storage. The Strait of Hormuz is still open, barely, for now. The next crisis is already being designed somewhere in the Persian Gulf. The Middle East didn't become a battlefield because of religion or politics. It became a battlefield because under its sand sits the most valuable commodity in history. And no one has yet figured out how to share it.